Who's all attending ACC football kickoff? We've got that list covered for you. What are your top players going to say when they get on that podium? We'll talk about what your coaches might say when they get on there as well. We're going to go through alphabetical order, so make sure you listen up clear to see where your team lands and all the fun things that they're going to talk about at ACC kickoff in Charlotte. Here we go.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod from wherever you decide to listen. And then from a viewing pleasure, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, let all your friends know just how much fun we have over here on this side. ACC is the best, we like to think. And we're going to go over ACC Kickoff. That is the annual media day event where they bring all of your top players from each and every school in the ACC to talk through what it's going to be like for that upcoming season. And 2023 has all of the glitz, all the glam. Kenton, are you ready for it?
Yeah, I don't know who Cam is, but Kenton is very much so ready for an ACC kickoff and the season, the actual kickoff, and all the things in between.
I had Cam Newton on the brain. I don't know why, but like that's my truth. That is absolutely my truth. Here we go, though. Boston College. Let's start in alphabetical order. Head coach Jeff Hafley, who we said yesterday has the hottest seat, arguably Kenton says, in ACC this upcoming season. He will be bringing his homie Donovan Izuruaku. There we go. Maybe I butchered. I'm so sorry. Christian Mahogany and Emmett Moorhead. Of course, got to bring the quarterback. So you bring a little bit of everything. So you can talk about the offense, talk about the defense, talk about the leader at the helm.
Yeah, for sure. This grouping makes sense. I mean, Mahogany is supposed to be one of the best offensive linemen, not just in the conference, but potentially in the nation. And him having success is going to be critical to keeping Moorhead clean, critical to letting those wide receivers cook and do what they do. If they have any shot of being good this season, these three need to be special. Really, these four, because Hafley needs to pull off something special as a head coach as well.
All right, so I am a reporter, and you're on the podium, and you're Mahogany, and I'm asking you how critical is protection for Emmett this season?
Well, if I were him, I would say, we went through so many injuries, so many, so much turnover on our offensive line. We had backup defensive linemen playing offensive line, even though they had not practiced with the offensive line up till that point in the season. And you saw the results. I think that it's very clear. Protection is first, it's foremost, and a great offensive line can hide things that are not going well offensively or that your skill position players lack. Great skill position players do not hide a bad offensive line. And so it's pivotal that I do my job and that our unit does our job at a high level to get this thing done.
As Emmett Moorhead, you're coming off of following Phil Dracovic. How do you sort of implement the things that he did well and sort of move away from things that he definitely needed to work on?
Well, I mean, we don't look backwards as a program. We look forward. And the reality is this will be the first season which I was QB1 going in the spring. I'm going to be QB1 going all through camp. And so it's less about how do I take things from his game and put it into mine, and more about how I improve my game, because I'm not trying to be the second Phil Dracovic. I'm not trying to be the second Matt Ryan. I'm not trying to be the second Doug Flutie. I'm trying to be the first and best Emmett Moorhead I can possibly be.
Come on, you better do that. That's why they pay you the top dollar, period. All right, let's move on to Clemson. Head coach Dabo Swinney, who's going to tell us how much the underdogs they are. They didn't get things done, but they're ACC champions. They are the top when it comes to this. They got Tyler Davis, they got Cade Klubnik, and they got Will Putnam rolling. Again, all spreading it out and bringing in your quarterback. Mm-hmm. Everyone's thinking the same thing so far. So if you're Cade, now this is your first season as a full QB1. This is you ready, set, go with a good offensive coordinator at that. How excited are you for this upcoming season?
I'm extremely excited about this upcoming season. The country seems to have written us off. They no longer believe in us. They no longer believe that we're of the national championship ilk and just think that our ceiling is winning the ACC. We have something to prove, and by golly, we're going to prove it.
Yeah. And if you're Dabo Swinney and people are saying, listen, you can dominate the ACC all day long, but because your competition isn't as great here in our conference, it sort of hinders and hurts your chances at the national level.
Look around college football. Take away two names, Kirby Smart and Nick Saban. I'm pretty sure I have nearly as many national championships as every other coach combined. You can question me. You can say what I am or am not. You can say that we've been beaten up on a bad ACC, but the reality is simple. Women lie, men lie, rings never lie. And the fact of the matter is, I've got the bling to show that if you believe that I'm only good for dominating the ACC, well, I guess that you would say that those couple years we beat Bama, they were in the ACC those years, or what happened there?
100%. And listen, when you talk about defense, Tyler Davis, we know that Clemson's defense is always coming. Top hitters. Who are some of the guys that we need to watch out for?
The entire defense. You need to watch out for all of us. We have dynamic playmakers at literally every single level. We have guys that have been mocked as going in the first round at every single level. To probably the best linebacking core or the best linebacking duo in the nation, one of the best safeties in the nation in Makuba, and you're talking to me. There's a reason I'm here. So all of us.
All of us. That's exactly right. Love it. All right, we're going in alphabetical order. We're talking about the ACC Kickoff attendance list. We are, talking from the perspective of these upcoming people that will be attending. We're moving on to Duke. The Blue Devils will bring head coach Mike Elko, Dwayne Carter, defensive lineman Riley Leonard, quarterback, and Jacob Monk. Three, stars, veterans of that team who have definitely helped propel that program to where it is right now. 9 wins on the season. If I'm Coach Elko, how do I repeat, Coach? How do I keep this energy and momentum going?
Everybody thinks it was a fluke and that we beat up on a bad Coastal and we beat a bunch of bad teams. We can only play who's in front of us. And don't worry, by the end of this season, I'm not saying what will or will happen, but what I will say is this. There will be no doubt as to whether or not it was a fluke. It will be clear, we weren't those guys and we just beat up on a bad Coastal. Or folks need to start putting some respect on Duke football's name. Folks need to know when you come to Wallace Wade, this ain't your daddy's Wallace Wade. This is a different time here.
100%. Now, Dwayne Carter has been a defensive powerhouse. He has been sick of losing, and he definitely said that we shouldn't sleep on his program. He has seen the likes of Shaka Hayward and some really other powerful defenders. How can he keep improving going into the season?
Well, if you're asking me what I'm working on going into this season, I want to be a little bit better against the run. I want to be just a little bit more stout. Everybody knows what I can do in the past in one-on-one situations, but there were questions about, my ability to take on double teams and all that, which as an interior defensive lineman, that's where you live and breathe. And so working on that is going to be vital for me, but also the ability to basically the guys around me I'm only as good as they are, right? As all the accolades and all that I get as a result of playing with those guys and being with a bunch of guys who are talented in their own right, who free me up to make plays. So that's what that is.
And lastly, Riley Leonard, we talk about the guy down the street a lot, right? 8 miles down the road in Drake May, but silently you have been pretty damn good in this league. How do you keep under the radar, but in a good way and still play your game?
At the Kentucky Derby, the horses can't see what's going on next to them. They run with blinders on for a reason. I'm the same way. I don't really think too much about what folks are saying about Drake or what, who's saying who's better. Again, my job isn't to be better than Drake May. My job is to be the best Riley Leonard I can be. And that's all that I'm striving for.
We love to hear it. We love to see it. But more importantly, we love to talk about our friends at FanDuel and all the betting action that is coming into this season. If you want to have 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets by betting on MLB, you should do that because you can get up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from money line to cover to over under to who you think is going to get the first home run. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/locked-on to get $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/ there it is, locked on. And FanDuel is the official partner of the MLB. Kenton Gibbs here. We're talking through ACC Kickoff in attendance. We've got Boston College, Clemson, and Duke. Moving on to Florida State, head coach Mike Norvell will be with Kalen DeLoach, Jordan Travis, and Jared Verse. You've got a big defensive front here. And then, of course, Jordan Travis, who has been the leader for a past few seasons now. Mike Norvell, there's a lot on you guys, a lot of lights right now. Everyone's feeling like you are going to be the team, the program that puts ACC on the national stage. How much pressure are you guys feeling?
Pressure is only for the unprepared. We're going to do what we've always done, and that's show up and be the best Florida State possible. And if we do that, if we execute the right way, we saw it last year. As much as people say that the ACC is lowly and bad, we beat one of the teams that was in the SEC championship last year. So with that being said, I think that our call is simple. Be the best us possible, and we don't beat us. Make other teams beat us, and I think if we can do that at a high level, if I can coach that at a high enough level, we'll be just fine.
All right, Jordan Travis, you're winning the Heisman Trophy if?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't really put too much stock in the individual awards, but I will say this.
Great answer.
The Heisman normally goes to one of the best players on one of the best teams. So if you're saying I win the Heisman Trophy if we do everything that we need to do, if we are in the playoff, and if we're looking like the team that I know we can be, then yeah, it's very possible for me to take home the hardware.
Come on, you better be a media day expert. You better do it. Jared Verse, the health and strength. We need you to be firing at a high clip. How do you maintain your health this season in order to get this FSU defense in a great place?
Well, as you can clearly see, I've gotten bigger and stronger from last year. When I can still bend, I can still move the same way I did. And so, teams are going to have a hard time dealing with me, and that's all right. That's all right. I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, and so it's all about keeping myself in the best shape possible. And from there, I'll be doing everything I need to do to stay on the field.
All right, Georgia Tech head coach Brent Key, Lamiles Brooks, Jordan Williams, and Sylvain Yondujan. I messed that up. I'm probably confident. The guy from Belgium. Why would you do that to me and set me up for failure? But here we are. Coach Key, now you got the keys to the kingdom, literally. Go figure. No pun intended. How do you make sure that all the hype that we've surrounded us personally feel like Georgia Tech is going to be pretty damn good? How do you execute?
I mean, is us executing is dependent on what people think about us. It's dependent on us executing. Regardless if y'all picked us to finish last or if you picked us to finish fourth, if you picked us to win the championship here, we got to execute. And that's what we have to do. That's not really a negotiable. It's not really about what other people think about us. That's about how we go about our work. How diligent are we with our work?
Now, Jordan Williams, you've got a new quarterback, right? You're over here trying to build this offense to be something of prominence. How do you maintain composure throughout a season that's going to have its ups and downs with the team trying to figure it out?
I mean, did we not see that last year? Jameer left to go to Alabama. Our starting quarterback left halfway throughout the season and decided not to play. Our head coach got fired. This is a team that we're not new to this. We're true to this. We're true to turmoil. We're true to adversity. We've been through all that. We've been through the fire. And so, a new coach or a new quarterback or a new system, none of that phases at this point because we've had to readjust mid-season and we figured it out. So I'm sure we'll figure this out.
Fair enough. Let's move on to Louisville. Louisville Cardinals head coach Jeff Baram, Ashton Gillett, Brian Hudson, Jawar Jordan. Now, Coach Baram, they done you the bee's knees of Louisville, Kentucky. Beyond Beyonce, you is the man, okay? I'm just trying to figure out, are you as advertised, and what can we expect from the Cardinals this season?
I mean, I think that's a very interesting way to phrase that, but I would say I would say if I
Ain't
were
nobody
coach,
gonna have the balls to say that, but I might.
listen, if I'm Coach Brown, I'm just gonna say flat out, I've turned programs around before, but I don't even think that this team is in need of a full turnaround, just some tweaking of some things. If we can tweak some things, if we can find ways to generate more offense and all the things that we've already seen be lacking here in the past at times, then we'll be perfectly fine. If we can be gap sound and disciplined defensively, if we can find ways to exploit mismatches and change the math offensively, we'll be just fine.
Now, not bringing a quarterback, which is very rare, right? But you're not bringing a quarterback similar to our friends here at Georgia Tech. What is the QB conversation going on right now?
Well, our QB conversation is our QB conversation. That's we've got some great guys in the mix. I don't want to, and I know that everybody wants to get a sound bite where I'm saying one player is ahead of this player, or this player ain't this. You all will see when it's time for you all to see. Right now, we are, keeping our eyes open and closely evaluating everybody who's involved with this thing at the moment.
Fair enough. Ashton Gillett, we know that Louisville defense has been one of very much dominance. As much as people sleep on this team, how can Louisville continue? We saw, what was my game? Was it Yaya?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can Louisville continue its dominant approach to making sure that they make a name for themselves in this conference?
Well, I'm sure that this young man would take the underappreciated angle, and in that, we've always flown under the radar. Nobody's ever quite given us the credit that we deserve defensively. And so I'm not really expecting too much love or too much hype around us this year. Just watch us work.
Fair enough. Let's go on to the Miami Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal, Cam Kitchens, Matt Lee, and Tyler Van Dyke. Now, Coach, you've come in, you let us know this is New World Order. You got a lot of discipline about you, but you finally feel like this team is in a position that they're following what your rules are and are going to execute them well on that field come this fall.
Well, if I'm looking at this like Mario Cristobal, he's probably going to go with some along the lines of our standard is our standard, and we are who we are as a program. But that needed to be reestablished. And obviously that reestablishment is going to come with growing pains. And we saw some of those last year. But at some point in time, those growing pains and that potential has to materialize into success. All the guys that we have that are mentioned as first round this or first round that, all of that doesn't matter if we can't produce properly on the field, because we all know how that goes. Winners produce first rounders. It is very rare that you see guys that are just, not sitting in the green room for long, that are from bad teams. And so the team is a reflection of the coach, and everything you see out of these guys, in the words of a famous Miami coach before me, either I'm coaching it or I'm allowing it. And I promise you, what you see out of this group this year, you will know that everything that's being coached or allowed into this team is to permeate success. So
have we deaded the mamas tweeting and the papas tweeting and the friends tweeting?
I honestly don't know how he would take that one. I really, that's a good one. That's a really good one there. But I would assume there would be something along the lines of, hey, we got, at the end of the day, one of the ways that you get rid of cancer is you cut it out. You don't really play around with it. You don't mess around with it. You got to cut it out. And there was some of that in the locker room. There was some, hey, we're not sure if we want to do this. We're not sure. Folks who weren't 100% bought in. And at the end of the day, in this program, we don't run a type program where you can be 80% bought in to have success. So,
Well, let's just say for kicks and giggles, Tyler Van Dyke and Mario are both on the stage at the same time. Listen, Mario, we've been told that you have struggled sometimes developing quarterbacks. Tyler, do you feel like that, development, is it there? Or is it something where we have all eyes to make sure that you're actually getting the progression that you need?
I think that that's a very interesting question based on the fact that, regardless of whether or not a coach is a quarterback whisperer or doesn't know Jack Diddley about quarterbacks or whatever the case may be, I've still got to go out there and play.
Mm-hmm.
I've still got to go out there and play the game that I've been playing since I was yay high and all that good stuff. So I don't really see how it's fair to pin that on the coach as to whether or not I perform well and I develop into the player I need to be. Player development is based on many things, and the coach you got is only one part of it.
You better love your coach. All right, Cam Kitchens. I just feel like Miami defensive old is what I'm trying to see. Everyone says Miami's back, but I just feel like this year might be really special. Is Miami back?
See, this is one of the first ones where like my answer personally would be extremely different from what I believe this
And
young
why
man would
is
say.
that?
Because me personally, I don't want to hear nothing about we back. If we got a national championship legacy, I don't really, I I don't want to hear
Would you
about.
say where did we go?
No. If I was him, I would say I don't want to hear nothing about we're back. This Ray Lewis ain't walking through that door. Ed Reed ain't walking through that door. Our job is to uphold that legacy and move in that direction. That would be what I would say if I was him. But with that being said, I doubt it. I think that there will be something more along the lines of we. I mean, the question of are we back is something that's always asked, and at the end of the day, it's not about whether or not y'all think we're back. It's about us going to work and proving that we're back. So
That's fair enough. All right, let's move on to North Carolina. Head coach Mac Brown, John Copenhaver, and Cedric Gray and Drake May will be in attendance. Copenhaver is arguably one of the top tight ends so far. Listen, sometimes tight end group is the one that's overlooked, but how critical is it going to be a key component for Drake May this season?
I mean, I think it's going to be vital. Losing what? Did he lose his top 3 receivers or top 2?
2.
Okay. Either way it goes, you're losing 2 dynamic guys, especially one that I think was massively underrated in terms of how the nation looked at him and what happened in the draft in terms of Josh Downs. So with that being said, that tight end is going to be important. That him coming through and being great is going to be important, but we trust him to do so.
Yeah. All right. Listen, Cedric Gray, I need you to do one thing, and that is just help your offense. How can North Carolina improve its defense and not put its offense in such bad spots?
Ooh, that's I'm pretty sure they're gonna be glad to not see you at ACC media days this year.
No, why is that?
Because
Is that rude?
That question has some cilantro on it. That question has some chili peppers on it. It has some habanero on that thing.
Good.
It has some
I hope he watches the show. I'm sure somebody been watching the show, and I want him to know exactly how I feel.
I guess the answer there would be something along the lines of, our job is to help the team win, and our job is obviously to put the offense in plus territory and do what we need to do to be a plus on the team and not a minus. We know that every team we play, those guys on the other side of the ball are going to be on scholarship too. But at the end of the day, we got a job to do, and we just got to go out there and do it.
Bob Holliday is probably going to ask a question like that. He is notorious for literally dragging he'll drag your stats out. He'll be like, so last year you were last in perceptions, last in receiving, last in running back tips. How do you think you can improve the season? Well, damn. But I love him for that because he be getting right to the root. North Carolina, I didn't ask Mac Brown any questions because you already know how I feel about that. So we just going to go ahead and right along. Head coach Dave Doran out of NC State, Brendan Armstrong, Aiden White, and Peyton Wilson. Peyton, it's about that time. This is the last year. You ain't got no eligibility, boo. Okay, you saw that it came out a little hard, but you know what I'm talking about. Can we get a 10-win season out of NC State in your 20th year of being with the program?
Wow.
As a player.
And again, this is one where my answer would delineate from Peyton's, but I would probably say that Peyton goes with something along the lines of 10-win season has been elusive here. We have struggled to get that double-digit win season. But with that being said, the past doesn't travel on the field with us. There's no bad juju or mojo that travels on the field with us. It's about us showing up, doing what we need to do day to day in order to get those 10 wins. That's just what the reality is. So I don't want to do too much talking about whether or not we'll get to 10. We'll show you whether or not we'll get to 10 at the start of this year's season.
All right, Brendan Armstrong. Okay, can I talk today? All right, Brendan Armstrong. There we go. Why should we believe that the NC State Brendan Armstrong is better than the Virginia last year Brendan Armstrong?
Jesus.
I'm coming with the heat today, baby. You know I am on it. Period. You too.
Well, first things first. My best season came under Robert and I, and he and I are reunited here. And furthermore, moving on from that, I see this as a great fit here in Raleigh. I see this as a wide receiving core that's probably one of the best I've ever played with. And this is a very talented team, very talented offense, and my job is to make sure that I'm getting the ball out on time and where it needs to go. And with that being said, another year of experience in the system that I've enjoyed playing in can't hurt, right?
That's good. Great answer. You think I should ask that on next week? Or I keep that one in Arsenal. People get a little sensitive.
Listen, like I said, I'm pretty sure that them folks are glad you're not gonna be there. They heard Candace ain't showing.
You better ask one of these questions while you're there. I'm gonna be upset. On behalf of the group. Let's move on to Pitt. Head coach Pat Narduzzi, MJ Devonshire, Matt Goncalves, we'll call it that, Phil Dracovic. Pitt, Pat Narduzzi. Recently we had a stint in the ACC Championship, fell off a little bit last year, but with Phil, how much better is this program now? Are we back on the wagon? Are we back on the Kenny Pickett wagon?
I mean, he's not Kenny Pickett. He's Phil Dracovic, and I think that this team is quarterback play should always be a bonus on your team. It should always be a plus on your team. It should never be a net negative. And with all due respect to some of the guys that we had in here last year, the performance at this quarterback position just wasn't where we needed to be in order to be successful. But in Phil, we've got a homegrown Pennsylvania talent that we are believing can get us to the promised land. So, we've been there before. Some of these guys on this roster know what it's like to go to a New Year's Six Bowl, know what it's like to go to an ACC championship. So let's see if we can repeat.
All right, MJ Devonshire, we're so used to guys like Kalaji Kancey and Habakkuk. You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I do not know how to pronounce his name.
It's like the name in the Bible.
Leave me out of this. Leave me out of this. Now, why am I in it? See how my name just get thrown in stuff?
You got a strong defensive core. We know how this was. Savasi, Dennis, all the things. How are you going to keep that momentum going and really help propel this Pitt powerhouse?
I mean, Coach Narduzzi is one of the best defensive minds in the game. He puts us in great positions and puts us in positions to succeed. And at that point in time, the coaches coach the first 3 steps. Everything after that is up to us to be successful in. So in terms of how I continue the legacy of Pitt defense, continue that tenacity, continue that aggression, continue that single-minded focus on stopping offenses by doing my job.
Head coach Gino Babers out of Syracuse, Oronde Gadsden II, your favorite, Garrett Schrader and Marlo Wax. Garrett, we hope you're feeling healthy because the team going to need you like they ain't never needed you before, my guy. If this was at stake to keep Dino's job, how are we going to make sure that we execute every single game?
Well, it's not just about Dino's job. It's about my job in the future.
That's why they ain't invited me. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that right there. That right there. It's not really about Dino's job. It's about, playing for the name on the front of this jersey means something. It's not about my last name. It's not about the Schrader family. It's not about the Baber family. It's not about the Wax family. It's about Syracuse. That's what this thing is about. And so showing up with pride and being an Orangeman is what we play for and how we are choosing to show up here. So at the end of the day, I don't look at it as, oh, my coach is on the hot seat and I've got to play to make sure he can continue to feed his family. I look at it as I came here for a reason, so did everybody else. And we want to execute and do our best to flesh out those reasons.
Oronde, you might be one of the best in the game. Why are you so overlooked?
Some people say it's the university I go to. Some people say that I'm just not the flashiest player in the world. But at the end of the day, I do what I do. And I'm not really here for the flash and dash and all that. I'm here for being productive and putting up great numbers and helping my team win football games. As long as I'm doing that, I'm happy.
Head coach Tony Elliott. We're talking about Virginia here. Chico Bennett, Paris Jones, and Tony Muskett. Tony Muskett and the boys.
Tony Muskett going? Good for him.
Virginia has a lot in front of them. They have a lot of positives in front of them, but how can they stay focused, Coach?
Well, like we've talked about all offseason, we aren't getting over something. We're getting forward. We're going forward from something, and that's just where we are right now. We're focused on football because at the end of the day, that's why all of us are here, right? Like I don't get signed checks for grief counseling or anything like that, so I don't pretend like that's my job. I do my best by these young men to show up for them in every way that I possibly can and extend to them all the resources I can. But at the end of the day, football has to be played. And, it's my job to put these guys in great situations to succeed.
100%. Virginia Tech head coach Brent Pry, Josh Fuga, Nick Gallo, and Ali Jennings. Not bringing a quarterback, I see. Last season, Coach Pry, I'm just going to sit here and say we had a little bit of a struggle. Now you see who people before you. Virginia Tech needs at least 5 wins. Can you get it?
Thanks for that question. 5 wins is, if you're saying can we get 5 wins, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that we can win every game on this schedule. I don't think there's a single game on this schedule that, I look at and I say, oh, we could mark that down as an L already. But it's about which Virginia Tech we show up as. And at the end of the day, we have a ton of really great players here. And so it's a situation where, again, it's not about the other teams. Mm-hmm. It's not about the record. It's about us. It's about us. And us doing what we need to do at a high level will determine our record.
Last but certainly not least, Coach Dave Clawson out of Wake Forest is bringing Mitch Griffiths, Chase Jones, and Michael Juergens. He's been a staple part of that program. Wake Forest has been flying under the radar, but in a good way, sort of bad way. Sam Hartman is not there, Coach Clawson, but we feel confident that Mitch Griffiths can at least deliver something. How confident are you in this offensive program?
In all things in life, there is a silver lining. And when we had the situation with Sam's health that we had early last year, Mitch saw a ton of very important action that he needed to see. And with that being said, I think that we got a good enough sample size to feel comfortable with Mitch going forward. There's a reason he's here today. And, we all know Sam Hartman ain't walking through that door, and we thank him for everything he did for the program. But again, we're moving forward. We're moving forward. We're moving on with Mitch, and we're doing everything we can to build the best program possible here. And we're going to build it with the guys that we have available to us.
All right, ACC Kickoff, full rundown list. That's the attendance we've got going for you. There's a lot of great guys that are ready to attend and give you your best sound bites. Clearly, there are going to be some spicy questions asked during the ACC Kickoff. Will it be from me? It better be from Kenton if he's representing the group. I hope to hear some good question asking, or else I'm going to be disappointed if there's no cilantro on them. I'm just going to say.
Listen, I mean, it's one thing to bring cilantro, but you was bringing all types of heat.
I brought Texas Pete, but I'm ready. I'm ready for it because come with it, Cedric. I'm looking at you.
All right. Well, you asking folks, hey, can you get 5 wins? Your coach finna get fired. How you feeling? You gonna play good for your coach? Make sure you don't get fired.
Hey. Sometimes you just gotta lay it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. That's what the good book said. Now, make sure you guys come back all through the week. We're going to get you prepped and ready. Maybe there's some questions that you want to get asked. You should go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let us know what you're trying to hear from the group, but we're more than likely to get it to you. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we can't wait to see you. Until next time.